Yeah, it is another episode of the Autumn Windbags. RJ Clifford, Juan Soto. Let's have some fun today. Little change of pace show. You know what I mean?
A little something different.
Yeah. Raiders played on Thursday, Thanksgiving. Beat the Cowboys overtime. Big win. Knocked off the number one seed in the NFC. And so we didn't want to go like all the way from Thursday to Wednesday without doing a show. You know, we got to keep you guys satiated. You know what I mean? We gotta butter those balls a little bit.
Yeah.
So here we are. We'll just do kind of a
switch it up.
Yeah, a little change up, right? Little stranger for you guys. So
This time we jerk off, then we sit on our hand.
That's a big change up.
That's one of those freaking fork ball changes. That's like a circle change right there.
That just makes the cleanup harder. I don't know how that helps. But yeah, a little quick week 12 wrap up. Little something to keep us until Wednesday's show. So get this: Bengals beat the Steelers. Bucks beat the Colts, Broncos beat the Chargers, and just seconds ago, the Ravens beat the Browns. That's literally
it's all good for us.
The perfect scenario for the Raiders' playoff chances. Like that could not have gone any better. Every single and none of them were like massively drastic, but every single one of them kind of got us in the right direction. Like the Steelers are now below us in the wild card race. Mm-hmm. Let the Bengals and Ravens, hopefully they just win a whole bunch and then like they're not like fighting us for it. We play the Colts coming up. They lost a game. So they're kind of like they're dropped down now. Mm-hmm. The Chargers lost to the Broncos, and so now there's basically a three-way tie for second in the AFC West with the Chiefs on top. And the Ravens beat the Browns, dropping the Browns to 6-6. Also below us now.
Half game below us, yeah.
Half game below us. So this was the perfect day for the Raiders' playoff chances. This is great.
I mean, this weekend couldn't have gone much better for us. I mean, the thing that really freaks me out is that fucking tie. That goddamn fucking tie. That
Steelers.
It always seems to come into play. But if Cincinnati and the Ravens keep winning, man, it's a good thing, man. It's a good thing.
So with all these games going on, so let's get into some of these games. There was, you want to just go chronological order?
Sure.
Right? Steelers-Bengals?
Sure.
Bengals won 41-10. That's that Steelers win that we have is starting to like not look as impressive. And that loss we have to the Bengals is starting to look less bad. I think the Bengals have shown they're a lot better than people thought, and the Steelers aren't as good as people thought.
Well, this game played out very similar to the game against us, where it was still close in the second half, but same as what we did. We threw a pick six later in the game, and just turning the ball over too much, and that's what Ben Roethlisberger did. He was just turning the ball over way too much, and once you make a team one-dimensional, especially a team with a quarterback as old and stagnant and stoic as Ben Roethlisberger,
walking boot wearing,
you can just pin your ears back, and he did not do well against the pressure. He didn't complete. Look at that. Anytime Ben throws 41 passes in an NFL game, it's not going to turn out well, which shows by his QBR of 28. But yeah, it was more of the same for Cincinnati, man. You know, they caused a lot of turnovers. Mixon was fucking running wild. What did he have? Like 165 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yep.
That's what the Bengals. As much as you see Joe Burrow and fucking Jamar Chase and throwing the ball down the field, they want to run the fucking football. And here's the deal: when they get maybe a 2-score, 10-point lead, whatever on you, they will just feed Joe Mixon. He had 28 carries. He had 30 against us. 28 carries in this game, over and over and over and over. And they're not shy about it. He's a workhorse. That's what they want. They want to get you. They want to pin you down, and they want to run the ball.
When Ben Roethlisberger's quarterback rating is the same as like the age of the chicks he hits on, it's a bad rough. It's 18 for him, right? Actually, yeah, it's too old. Way too old.
17.
Yeah, way too old for him. So like we said, we've already beaten the Steelers. We lost to the Bengals. We may see them again in the playoffs. We'll see, but hopefully the Steelers make the playoffs because that's an easy win for us, I think. We just match up too well for them. The other game, Buccaneers-Colts, close game, fun game. Bucks have to. Tom Brady was playing kind of rough early on. The running game of the Colts is no joke. So, obviously we don't play the Buccaneers this season. We won't play them, let's make it to the Super Bowl, right? But we got the Colts coming up. I think the second to last game of the season. They're going to be a handful, dude. Jonathan Taylor is like, everyone's like, oh, MVP, like 0% chance he's getting an MVP. It's going to be a quarterback like it always is.
Yeah, but he's fucking good, man. And
but with Derrick Henry on IR, he is the scariest back with the ball in the NFL.
Well, that was, earlier in the year, it was when you and Rory were on together. I'm like, dude, don't sleep on this Colts team. If Carson Wentz cannot turn the ball over, and it's very similar to what the Bengals do, but they don't make any qualms about it. You don't think, oh well, Wentz just wants to throw the rock down the field. No, that's what you think about Burrow and Jamar Chase and all that, and they end up feeding Mixon a ton. No, they're not apologetic. They play good defense. They cause a lot of turnovers, and they want to run the football, and they'll stretch the field when they have to. But if just similar to not every team can win with, let's say, a Derek Carr throwing the ball 40, 45 times. It's not optimal, but we can still win doing that. Yeah. The Colts can't win throwing the ball 45 times.
That's what I'm thinking is, when we played the Colts, I don't know, maybe. I thought for sure the Cowboys were going to run all over us. And we actually kind of held our own for a run defense. Jonathan Taylor and this great O-line in Indy might have their way with us running the ball, but we are going to eviscerate Carson Wentz. Max Crosby and Yannick Ngakoue are going to be all over him. It's going he's either going to get hurt, multiple sacks. We're not a big turnover team. We don't get a lot of turnovers, but we're going to force Carson Wentz to screw up.
Yeah, Abrams got to be in that box. We have to load that box up. And we have to dare Wentz to throw the ball 45 fucking times. Mm-hmm. Listen, Wentz doesn't have to throw the ball a bunch to beat us, because last year fucking Taylor pushed our shit into our back of our teeth, and he had 200-something yards against us. But we kind of have the game plan. Hines is very Pollard-esque. He's kind of a quick scat guy. And Taylor's a fucking beast, man. So against the best running defense in the fucking NFL, he still had 83 yards. Now, to the Tampa Bay's credit, Taylor only rushed 16 times because they got them down quick and they had to throw the ball to keep themselves in the game. Yeah, which is what we need to do. We need to start quick and fast and not let Taylor become a problem. But if they get a score, maybe even 3.6 point lead against us,
well, that's not true. Tampa Bay was up 24-14 at half. Tampa
That's
Bay
what I'm saying. If Indy gets a lead against us, they're just going to lean on Taylor.
Yeah.
Even if it's just a 3 or 6 point lead, they're not like, fuck it, we got a lead here, Taylor. If I could take us the rest of the way. So, great back and forth game, man. Two legit contenders.
Yeah. That was a fun game to watch.
The Colts had a little bit of a rough start to the year. But ultimately Wentz's interception issues and lack of Jonathan Taylor running the ball cost the Colts in the end. But yeah, Wentz, this is who he is. 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 picks. That's who he is. He's going to throw the ball a ton. He's maybe not as a talented arm as a quarterback we're going to talk about next, but he's very similar if you make him throw the ball a lot.
One of the AFC West, big one. Broncos beat the Chargers. Broncos started out 3-0. Went on a losing streak. They've now won 3 of 4 after that Fugazi 3-game win streak where it was Jets, Jaguars. It was literally the 3 worst teams in football, and they're pounding their chest they're the shit, and we go and push their shit in. They're kind of turning around. They're kind of figuring out how to win with what they got, right? They're kind of understanding who they are. But they had a lot of balls bounce their way. Justin Herbert threw 2 interceptions. One of them was just a blatant, off the chest of Austin Eckler. And then I think Patrick Surtain took it to the house for a pick six. That wasn't on Herbert. They got a lot of things going their way, but that's also kind of who they are, right? Yeah. They're kind of just kind of like how the Dolphins were last season. It's kind of like advantageous, like make the move when they can, and there you go.
Yeah, it's ugly games. I mean, they threw for like 150 yards in the game.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is they ran at the ball 33 times. It's a very old school, like even think of when Peyton Manning was on the Broncos. That's how they play. Yeah. They're going to play tough defense. They're going to make you, inch the ball down the field. They're going to get turnovers. They're going to try to capitalize on those. They're not going to throw the ball a ton. The way that we were able to beat the Broncos the first time is we got out to a big lead and we made Teddy Bridgewater throw the ball 35 plus times. If you do that, you're going to beat the fucking Broncos.
Yeah.
But if Teddy Bridgewater throws the ball 18 times like he did in this game, they're going to have a chance to win because that means that they're running the ball a lot, which they did. They
never trailed.
Yeah.
They never trailed, right? Like it's going to be, when we get to Denver, so we've beaten Denver once, lost the Chargers once. We played the Chargers in the very last game of the season. Denver, I think the second or third last game of the season. This is like getting ahead early is so crucial. Like trying to force Teddy Bridgewater to beat us, trying to like not let, their O-line take over the game and just like run all over us, which is obviously our biggest Achilles heel on defense. Doing something that we've been struggling to do early in this season, start fast, but what we did great on Thursday against the Cowboys, 3 and out, 3-play drive, 70-something yards, touchdown. Like that's that quick start, like a really awesome, like sophisticated early game plan for the Raiders is, I think, crucial. Like it's always good, right? We're always trying to start fast, but against the Broncos, Colts, Browns, which we'll get to here in a second, like it's even more important to make sure that their running backs are catching passes and not running between tackles.
So every team that we're facing, except for, I would say, the Chiefs, are at their best or can play their best pretty much when they're balanced. Like the Chiefs, it doesn't fucking matter. Even if, you're down 21 points, they're still in the game because they can score so quickly. But Washington, then the Browns, and the Colts, Denver, the Chargers, like these guys are at their best when they can be balanced and when they don't have to have their quarterback do everything. Yeah. As talented as Justin Herbert is, look at his stat line, man. He had 300 yards, but he threw the ball 44 times. That's way too much for him. He did throw 2 picks. One of them wasn't his fault, but he also had 2 picks that were dropped. I mean, 2 easy ones that could have been picked easy. And so, like I said before, the first time we played the game, if you put him in obvious passing downs and passing situations, you don't really have to fool him. He's going to give you some chances to get the ball. So that's what we have to get away, and I think we have gone away from that stern script and just started. Okay, forget these formations. Let's get the ball to our playmakers. These are our best players. Let's get the ball to these guys and make them and help them make plays. We're putting them into positions to make plays. If we start fast, it's going to make it a lot easier. Yeah, Jeff, that was a back and forth game, and like I said about Carson Wentz, you make him one-dimensional, you make him have to throw the ball a ton. He's not that much different from a Justin Herbert, man. Justin Herbert.
You make Carson Wentz do anything other than hand the ball off, then we're in good shape.
Listen, Carson Wentz can throw the ball, but he is much better when he's on play action, when you have a balanced attack. It's very similar to Justin Herbert. Now, Justin Herbert, I'm not going to compare the two. I'm not saying they're the same player. Justin Herbert has much better arm talent. And dare I say, has some better weapons around him.
More acne.
Besides the running back and more backney. Yeah. But if you make them throw the ball a lot, if you get ahead of, they're going to turn the ball over. Both of them are.
And then finally, the Sunday night game, ugly. Like it's like a Big Ten December football game.
Turnover slugfest.
But we got the result that we wanted. Baltimore beats Cleveland. Baltimore goes to 8-3. Beat them in the opener. If that ever comes down, I doubt we'll have, take a miracle to get a tiebreaker over them, but we've got that in our back pocket if we go on a crazy run. Cleveland now drops to 6-6 below us in the wild card run, which is most important. That AFC North is a lot like the AFC West, just a ton of like 6-win teams. No, I don't think anyone has a losing record in the AFC North. But again, real ugly. Ton of fumbles, ton of drop passes. No one really can get the passing game going. A lot of penalties.
No flow.
No flow to it. Lamar Jackson was passing terribly, 20 of 32. 4 interceptions for Lamar Jackson, and still they ended up getting the win.
Well, Lamar Jackson showed today why he's such a polarizing player in the NFL, probably the most polarizing player in the NFL.
Behind Derek Carr.
I think even more so than that, because there's people that are still questioning his ability to win the big game, and there's other people that are saying he's a solid lock MVP. You know, there's not much middle ground with him. He ran the ball for 68 yards. He leads the team in rushing by far, but he threw 4 picks. When he needed to get the job done late in the game, he ran the ball a few times and got first downs and kept the clock running. But he also threw some very, very bad picks, especially at the end of like the last 5 minutes of the. If you want to have a laugh, just kick back, grab a beer, and watch the last 5 minutes of the first half of this game. Yeah. Nobody wanted to win this game. Nobody wanted the ball. Everyone was just throwing the ball back and forth, fumbling it, interceptions like crazy.
So if we when we got Cleveland coming up in a few weeks, if we can't expect this version of Cleveland, but it's nice to know that version of Cleveland exists. They had 40 total yards rushing. It's one of the best rushing teams in football. One of the best guard center guard combos in all of football. Like some of the best interior linemen as a whole in football. Maybe the best two back situation in football. Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb. 40 total yards.
That's rough, man.
It's rare that one of those guys doesn't have a 40-yarder or more per game, let alone the entire team getting 40 yards. So it's good to know that rushing game, it can be stopped. And if you put the game in Baker Mayfield's hands, 18 to 37, he completed less than half of his passes. It's a recipe for. I mean, it's obviously not easy stopping the Browns' rushing attack, but it's doable. And then once it is, you can overcome 4 interceptions and still beat them in a game of 26 total points.
Yeah, it's really. It's a lot easier when you lose your right tackle and probably one of the best tackles in the game. And Conklin went out, and that affected them a few ways. It affected the Browns running the ball. He's a very good run blocker. It also affected them in a lot of their rollout game. Baker Mayfield likes to get to roll out to that side, but every team has injuries. I'm not going to make any excuses for that. But that's one of the factors into them not being able to rush as well as they did. Plus, they kind of got into this little scramble mode where they were just trying to make big plays and come back. And because the score was so close, it was 6-3. And, if we just get a touchdown, we're going to control this game. And they didn't. They weren't able to set the tone with their running game, and they kind of just abandoned it. They really didn't have that many rush attempts. So when you have two teams that are throwing the ball a lot, but then throwing the ball to each other a lot, you get a pretty ugly game.
So this is a quick sneak peek of the AFC playoff situation, the playoffs are right now. Baltimore 1-7-3. I don't know if someone put this in there wrong. Is this right? This can't be right. That was Baltimore 8-3, right? So they just haven't updated yet. Okay, so this is right. 8-3. New England coming out of nowhere. What, they won 6 in a row?
Yeah.
Now they're the 2 seed. Tennessee 3. Kansas City the 4 seed. So those are the 4 division champs currently. Chargers the 7th seed. Buffalo the 6th seed. Cincy the 5 seed. So we're just half a game out. We're the 8th seed, essentially, right? So we're the next team on the outside looking in. And we've got another game with the Chargers. We've got another game with the Chiefs. We've got the win over Baltimore. Since he beat us, that one hurts. But we're just on the outside looking in. We are the closest team at 6-6.
Yeah, if we get second place in our division, first or second place, we should be in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. It's going to be difficult. That first or second, it's going to teams were 152. Interesting. They didn't play the Browns.
Shocking, right?
Yeah. So getting that first or second place in the division means beating teams like the Browns and the Colts and beating your own division like the Broncos and the Chargers, and that kind of going to push them back underneath us. We do that, we should be fine. There's still a chance for us to do it. We just have to do one thing that we haven't done very well this year, and then play consistent football. And if we can do that.
So here's a look at our schedule coming up, right? 6 more games, right? We're 6-5, 11 games in, new 17 game season, 18-week season. We got Washington next week, going to Kansas City after that, going to Cleveland after that, home against Denver, at Indy, and then closing out the season at home against the Chargers. All these teams showed weaknesses today. Well, the Chiefs had a bye, and when Washington plays tomorrow. But Cleveland, Denver, Indy, LA, all showed weaknesses. Like even the wins, right? Even with Denver winning, Cleveland lost, Indy lost, Chargers lost. They all showed serious weaknesses that maybe the Raiders aren't completely equipped to exploit. But certainly something that Gus Bradley can figure with all their offense. Like all their offenses look pretty rough.
So if we take the first half of the first quarter and the last half of the fourth quarter in overtime, if you just take those and extract those and put those as blueprints for how you have to play against each one of these teams, that's what we need to do. We need to start fast. We need to protect the ball and get points in the last half of the fourth quarter and overtime. That's how we played smart football. Carr, I said it after the game. I was very, very impressed with him not taking the checkdowns when he saw them. He saw the check down and he still looked down the field. We have to keep doing that. We have to keep making these teams pay because they need to be afraid of us. We need to get them out of and honestly, this was one of the issues that I had with that super duper ball control offense, because now we're seeing when we score quickly with the pressure that you put on other teams. We saw it in Cleveland. We saw it with the Chargers. We saw it with the Colts. Like when you put teams behind you, we saw it with the Cowboys too. When you put teams behind you, they go away from their tendencies. They go away from what they do best because they need to make up chunks and make up points quickly. That was my main issue with the whole Gruden ball control offense, is you were forcing yourself to play perfectly to win games. But if you're able to just put points up like your boy fucking goddamn, I keep forgetting his fucking name. He's the best coach in college football history, and I keep forgetting his goddamn name.
Saban.
Yes, Nick Saban. Like
it's a complicated name, a lot of syllables, hard to spell. I understand why.
That's true.
Kind of a nobody too.
Yeah, who is this? He's got nice hair, but that's about it.
Would you get immediately tarred and feathered in Alabama if you forgot Nick Saban's name on a football show?
I don't know if tarred and feathered in Alabama work in a sentence, but I would get hated on.
Like I wonder if that's in like the state charter, that if you don't know Nick Saban's name on a football show, like there's like a punishment immediately.
Well, we played that clip earlier this year when Nick Saban was saying, like, I had to change the way I coached. I can't be a 3 yards in a cloud of dust in a stomp defense and win anymore. We have to outscore. We have to think this way. Just like you said, when you agree with me, we have to push the ball. We have to put up points early. We can't worry about how many we give up. We have to score more. We have to just keep scoring.
And that's also like the whole point of our like Gus Bradley's cover 3 defense, right? It's the defense that's great when you have a lead, right? It's like if you can run against it, you can dink and dunk against it. It
takes time. It takes a lot of time.
Little swing passes, running between the tackles. Like it's a defense that you can do that again. That's the game plan, right? That's the standard operating procedure against Gus Bradley's defense. So if you're up by a touchdown or 10 and guys have to start slinging it, we're gravy, baby. Max Crosby, Yannick Ngakoue tucked their ears back. Casey Hayward, Trayvon Moore, they just go back, keep everything in front of them. Let these quarterbacks make mistakes. Every single quarterback we're playing makes a lot of mistakes. Other than Teddy Bridgewater. Yes. He's pretty consistent, but he's not going to beat you crazy.
Well, we made him make a lot of mistakes the first game.
Yeah, we can make him do that. But we've seen Patrick Mahomes make a lot of mistakes this season. I've never been a believer in what's going on in Cleveland. The idea that that they've got it like figured out, like Baker Mayfield's the guy and this is why they're successful. It's like, no, they're
good for them.
Playmakers on defense, great
That's
line.
How they feel.
Even the two best running backs. Like, that's not the case at all. Carson Wentz, we know what he's about. Like, this is exactly. Obviously, we want to always have the lead, score early, score fast. Like, that's no brainer. Like, that's what everyone. We want to score more points than the opponent. Like, duh. But it's just compounded with our style of defense. Like, you look at like the greatest show on turf, like Mike Martz's Rams, Kurt Warner's Rams, in 99 to 2002 or 3. They threw picks like raindrops. They threw so many picks, but they didn't care because they were putting up 45 points a game.
Yeah,
right?
Why care?
It was fine, right? So, like, the defensive version of that's kind of like the Ravens defense. It's like you don't really go for the easy tackle, you go for the ball, right? You don't go for containment, you go for the sack. Like, that's kind of like their style, which is opposite of our style. It's play smart, keep everything in front of you, don't give up the big play, let them eventually make a mistake, and let Max and Yannick run around with their hair on fire, right? And so that's just like the philosophy behind our success. And we saw it against the Cowboys, right? Like, they got away from the run game, and that was a big part, I think, on why we were able to be so successful on Thursday.
Yeah, and it's a blueprint for success moving forward. Mm-hmm. Dare I say, probably the most balanced quarterback and the most maybe especially recently. He had a rough game against the Broncos, but I mean, Taylor Heineke from Washington is probably the most conservative, like least turnover prone quarterback. Mm-hmm. If you consider Bridgewater's fumbles and Baker and because look, you take a look at Mahomes, that guy, I mean, not against us, but he's been throwing turnovers left and right. He's throwing interceptions left and right. Baker Mayfield is who he is. He turned the ball over a few times today. Bridgewater, we picked him twice. Wentz, if you get him throwing the best thing you can do with Carson Wentz is make him feel comfortable. Make him feel like he can feel like he can throw the ball, and he'll give you one.
Make him think he's in Philly in 2016 again.
Yeah, make him. He'll throw you a couple. And Herbert the same way. Is you make him one dimensional, you make him a little uncomfortable in the pocket, and he'll give you a couple. Taylor Heineke, man, he's not terrible. He's probably one of the guys that's playing the soundest football. I mean, against the Bucs, he had an 81% completion percentage against the fucking Buccaneers defense. Now, granted, their secondary isn't great, but their front seven is fucking amazing. And against the Panthers, another
Chase Young's still out, right? Chase Young's
he's down for the year, man. He tore his ACL. Right? Yeah, he tore his ACL. But
I have no shame in like celebrating opponents' injuries. I know you're like, I never want to wish an injury on anybody. And
look, I'm not gonna celebrate it. I'm not gonna celebrate it, but I'm not gonna like fucking shed a tear or fucking cry for me Argentina for that motherfucker.
I'm gonna do one of those, like, instead of like jumping up and cheering, I'm gonna give one of those like really quiet high fives to you. Like when Chase Young got hurt, I was like, and we'll move on, right? Well, then we'll move on. We'll have a full breakdown of the Washington football team versus Raiders on a Wednesday show, our regular show. But long week for us, right? Thursday game to Sunday, short week for them, Monday night game. And then they have to travel. Long week for us, short week for them. They have to travel east to west. This is exactly like, you can't ask for a better scenario, and this is probably the best clearly the best matchup for us for the remainder of our schedule. But this is exactly the games that the Raiders have traditionally lost, right? In the last 10 years. Like, these are exactly the games where it's like, oh, we got everything we need. We're all set. It's like basically coming off a bye. It's like, oh, we got this one. And then these are the games that we fall apart. Like,
that's why I think people think that I'm negative. It's just because I don't hit those highs.
You are negative.
I don't hit those highs. And I know that with the logjam that we have for the playoffs, we have to do what we haven't been able to do this year, and that's play consistent football. And I don't get too high when the team plays off their ass, like they did against, let's say, the Baltimore game or this last game against the Cowboys. I don't get too high with that, because then there's a Giants and fucking Bears and there's those types of games that we should win that we don't. Even though we're right there in the fourth quarter because we play stupid football. So I don't get too high on that because I know there's a lot of football left to be played, and things that
you don't get high on the Raiders' own supply.
Correct. And even Carr said it himself when they looked back at the first couple games of the year, they were making a lot of mistakes that they got away with, and they still won the game, and they weren't getting away with those mistakes later in the year. I think one of them was the fumbles, and the third down conversion wasn't very good, and also getting off to 14 plus point deficits, or two, was it 14 plus point deficits in both those games. So those things just, you can't win consistently when you do that. So that's why for us specifically, we can't kind of like wobble to a freaking to balance, and then we can start sprinting. We have to start sprinting right off the blocks.
So a couple quick news and notes. So that's our Week 12 recap. Again, we'll have a full breakdown of the Washington football team matchup on Wednesday. We'll have a guest, regular show. We want to make sure we keep you guys busy. Couple pieces of news that'll be old by the time Wednesday's show rolls around. Darren Waller obviously got knocked out in the second quarter of the game on Thursday, according to multiple reports. Ian Rappaport saying Darren Waller suffered a strained IT band in his knee via the MRI. So that's very good news, as opposed to like MCL, ACL, tear, strain. Like, obviously no injury is good, but that's probably some of the best. Like, of all the injuries he could feasibly have, this is like top 3 best ones.
Yeah, so if anyone's ever had a Charlie horse, like if something like when you're kids, someone comes up and Charlie horse and freaking knees you in the thigh, that's the IT band. That's like it runs on the outside of your leg from your knee to your hip. It's a big ligament or connective ligament. And basically, like when you see guys that take leg kicks in like MMA or Muay Thai fights, that's what they're trying to hit, is that IT band. And it gives you a dead leg.
Unless you're Czech Congo, he's trying to kick you in the nuts.
He's trying to kick you in the nuts or kick your
trying to
fucking
hit you
head
in the
off.
Yeah.
But having that injury closer to the knee, I can see where it could be bothersome for him, because imagine having a dead leg closer to your knee, that low down your leg, that's pretty rough. So hopefully he heals up quick, because that could be a lingering thing going forward, especially with somebody who's as big and quick and nimble as him, who needs to be able to cut and stop on a dime like he's able to do.
Also, the Raiders-Cowboys, everyone on planet Earth watched the game.
This is fucking crazy. Please continue.
36 million viewers.
It's crazy, dude. That's a lot of people.
That's the most watched non-playoff football game since 1990.
And you were arguing with me that this wasn't a primetime game. I'm like, dude, it's the middle game on Thanksgiving.
Prime time means it's a time slot, evening game. Not that it's a marquee spot.
Look, prime time for Thanksgiving, that is the middle game.
It's the marquee spot, but prime time is timing.
Look, all we need to know is the Raiders won the fucking Cholo Bowl. They beat the fucking Cowboys. We're good to go. Fuck them.
So good. Put this just for context, right?
Please.
Just for context, right? The most watched World Series game this year, 14 million viewers. World Series, like not just a mid-season, regular season game between two teams that like aren't rivals. They're in completely different conferences.
They're rivals in the
World
streets.
Series, rivals in the streets, right? The most watched NBA Finals game this year, 12.5 million viewers. The Academy Awards, like the night for movies and actors and like non-sport, like everyone who's not a sports fan supposedly turns into this. 9.9 million viewers. The most watched NBA game ever in the history of the NBA. Some people say the second most popular sport in America was Michael Jordan's last game with the Bulls in the 1998 NBA Finals. 35.9 million viewers. The most watched NBA game ever. The last game of the biggest superstar in sports at the time, Michael Jordan, got less viewers than a regular season game between the 5-5 Las Vegas Raiders and the number 1 seed Dallas Cowboys.
That's why the NFL owns media. The NFL owns the fucking media timetable, man. They own the media. What the fuck would they fucking call that shit?
The news cycle.
That too.
Eyeballs. One last thing before we go. For as happy as I was that the Raiders beat the Cowboys, I don't know how unhappy Skip Bayless was. Did you see this?
No.
He posted this video on purpose. Like, he filmed this and put it on the internet.
Is that Skip Bayless? He looks like shit.
He said, my reaction, because he's obviously like a Cowboys homer, my reaction to Cowboys Raiders. And he's just like convulsing, having an aneurysm.
He needs to put down the pipa, man. That guy looks like he's been smoked out.
He looks like he's trying not to nut during a blowjob. Like, he put this out there on purpose. Like, this didn't leak. He's like, hey, this will be great. Let me put this out there.
Look at his nostril. Do you see it?
Look at him.
Do you see that little... You know, that looks like me when I ate my grandma's chile, and I'm trying to tell her it's good. I'm just like, ooh.
What is happening to this man?
It looks like he's sitting on a Raiders dildo.
He seriously looks like he's trying to hold back a nut while he's getting a blowjob. Like, he's thinking to himself, like, baseball, 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 baseball. Oh, God, she's doing that thing with her tongue again. Baseball, baseball, baseball. Oh, her pinky's in my ass. Baseball, baseball, baseball.
Oh, God, Skip. Skip, you should not do close-ups anymore, buddy. Yeah, it doesn't look good.
Probably my favorite part of Thanksgiving. I made a deep-fried turkey. Raiders won. All my loved ones are around. But watching Skip Bayless have an aneurysm, probably my favorite thing. Probably my favorite thing from Thanksgiving. And I'm completely indifferent to Skip Bayless. Like, you know, like, I know what he's about. But just like this is something that he thought would be good to put on the internet.
It seriously looks like he ate something way too spicy.
Yeah.
Or he's trying not to bust a nut.
All right, we'll be back on Wednesday for a regular show, YouTube podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment on this video and all the others. We are so close to 1,000 subscribers. We're like 14 away.
Keep pushing.
Keep pushing. Tell your friends.
Yeah,
share.
man. Tell your friends, man. Like, subscribe. Tell your friends about us, man. I mean, we see it almost every episode that we have in the comment section. Hey, how come you guys haven't blown up yet? What's going on here? Blah, 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 this and that. Well, you don't fucking tell nobody. We try to tell people all we can, but tell your friends, man. Anyone you know, anyone you see who's a Raider fan out there, that's what I do. And it's not because I don't tell them that I'm on the freaking podcast. I say, I was in San Diego for Thanksgiving, and on Friday we went to San Diego Zoo. I'm walking around. I see this kid wearing a Raiders shirt. I'm like, hey, man, it's a nice shirt. He sees my Raiders hat. He's like, hey, that's a cool hat. I'm like, hey, do you listen to the Autumn Windbags? He's like, no, what's that? I'm like, oh, check him out. Search him on Spotify or YouTube or whatever. He's like, oh, cool. I'll check it right now. He's like, these guys? I'm like, yeah, listen to those guys. I did it twice. Anyone I see with Raider gears on, my big thing, RJ, I always tell people, so are you a real Raider fan or are you just one of those? He's like, nah, everyone gets all pissed off. No, I'm a real Raider fan. What the fuck? I'm all cool, man. Check these guys out. Autumn Windbags.
Yeah, getting people defensive as you're pimping our show.
It's perfect because we see it come out.
Because we don't, we're not a show that at the very beginning of the show we spend 5 minutes telling you to like, subscribe, bombard you with that kind of stuff. Because we're trying to make the show good, and just like throwing that in your face constantly is, I know, makes not a good show. But every now and then we'll tell you, hey, if you like the show, wonderful. I'm glad you subscribe. Glad you're here. If you really like the show, tell your friends, spread the word. We really, really appreciate it.
If you don't like me and what I say, the best way you can get back at me is in the comment section. So make sure that you like and subscribe and tell all your friends to blast me on these comments. That will get you to freaking subscribe. I don't know what will.
It's a cesspool of Juan Soto in the comment section, and it's great to watch. All right, we'll see you guys on Wednesday. Until then, knock on wood if you're with me.
Bang, bang.